Hello, good afternoon, everybody. This is Biz Coach C and Maribel. We are coming to you with our ninth training for AI smart hiring. So let's see, Maribel, I'm stuck on my computer screen. Am I stuck on yours?
Let me see. Yes, you are.
Why am I stuck? What's up? Hold on, y'all. Now, see, out of all of this stuff that we've been doing,
Mm,
we stayed on here for forever. Y'all, hold on. Let me see. Can I get unstuck? Let's see. Let's see. Well, at least y'all can hear me. That's good. That's the first thing.
mm-hmm.
This to it. Let's see. All right, let me turn.
Hey, guys. Glad that you're here. Just give us a second. Cynthia had some technical issues, and we're going to allow her to pop back in so that we can start the presentation on smarter hiring using AI for talent acquisition. I'm really excited for this one, as I have been for all the other ones in the past. And make sure that you go back and catch up on some of the previous ones that we have done so that you know exactly all the things that we have covered up until today.
So I swear, y'all, like I'm here, but I don't know why you're looking at the same me on the screen and it's not switching off. So,
It's
so
not.
that won't be a distraction. I'm gonna turn my camera off and see can I fix it in the background. But we're not gonna slow up this presentation. So Ms. Maribel has already given you guys an introduction. And did you already tell them it's number 9, Maribel?
I did not. I didn't get into all that.
Oh my gosh, it's the ninth training, you guys. We've been doing this for 9 months straight,
Mhm.
consistently. And we moved this one to this week to make sure that all of you guys could get on it and that everything was ready for you. So today is going to be a great training, and Miss Maribel is getting ready to start her presentation. I'm going to switch the screen over where you guys can see all of that, and she's going to get started. But what I do want everybody to remember here is that you have resources available. So this is exclusive to the Six Secrets Facebook group, Six Secrets to Six Figures. And everything that we're doing in this group is to help you understand how to start, build, and maintain a thriving business. And one of the most critical things that you can do for that right now is to learn how to incorporate the use of AI to make your world a lot easier, to make your task responsibility a lot more productive, and to give you better outcomes and massive results. So, with that being said, the queen that you're looking at on the screen is the queen of all of those things, right? And with this being the ninth training, we're excited to have Maribel with us again and to be sharing all of this expertise and knowledge with our Six Secrets group. And for those of you watching beyond, so if you have not been able to catch the live stream today, you will be able to access this on her YouTube page. So make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel so you can access it later. All right, guys, without further ado, here is Miss Maribel to chat with y'all about smart hiring, AI talent acquisition today.
Hey guys, I am excited to be here again today, as I have been for all the others, simply because, AI is kind of my thing. And I want to be able to kind of break things down for you guys so it's, not so overwhelming, because as someone who started dealing with AI, a few years back, there's a lot out there, right? And there continues to be a lot that's added on the daily, minute by minute. AI grows, right? New platforms arise, new tools come to play, and you really have to be able to decide which ones are going to be of benefit to you at whatever level you are at in business. So, as I have said in many of my other webinars in the past, start small, begin with one, master one, and grow. Okay? With that being said, let's kick this off. We're going to talk today about smarter hiring, AI talent acquisition. So, we're going to talk about how AI is being used to transform how we hire, what it means for those of us working in or around recruitment, people operations, even leadership, because you're going to have to hire people in the future. Okay. This is not a technical webinar of any kind, but just valuable information, right? That can help you better understand this evolving space. Okay, because we want to be able to understand how we recruit, how to screen, and how to hire potential talent. We don't want to just go out there and spend hours and hours digging through resumes to figure out who can be the right candidate for the different positions that we may have available, right? Because at some point, you're going to need a team. Okay. AI can do so much, but you're definitely going to need a team, especially if you're going to scale. Okay. And when it comes to hiring somebody for a specific or critical role in your company, you need to take the time to be able to do that. But who has the time as a busy business owner, especially if you're a solopreneur? Right? When you can spend, you're going to spend hours and hours digging through all these resumes, setting up platforms to show your jobs, and all the things. So let's get started. So in the next hour, we're going to talk about the current state of hiring, right? What challenges and inefficiencies today's recruitment shows, okay? We're going to dive into what AI can do and can't, because remember, AI can't do everything. It can assist you, but it's not a replacement for people, okay? So what the capabilities and limitations are there. We're going to talk about real-world applications, so practical ways and examples of AI-powered hiring tools. We are going to discuss the benefits and risks, advantages and pitfalls that you should consider, some responsible use and next steps, because we want to be able to use AI ethically. You cannot utilize it in an improper manner. And then at the very end, a simple Q&A session, okay? I want to be able to make some time for you guys to ask questions if you have any. All right, so why hiring needs a rethink? Hiring is harder than ever, okay? Not because we don't have talent, but because the process hasn't kept up with the pace of work. Most hiring teams, they deal with huge volumes of applications, and manually screening those is impossible because we just don't have the time, okay? On top of that, our own biases tend to creep in. You're thinking, oh, let me just hire this type of person or that type of person, not really considering the whole person, right? Or relying on your own intuition or rushing through things because you're in a time crunch and you really need somebody. I mean, that's just not the way to go, okay? The candidate experience often suffers when that happens. And then people apply, like, for example, I'll just be honest. I've applied to many jobs in the past and you never hear back from them. And then you get frustrated because you're like, oh my gosh, I've applied to 1,700 positions and I haven't heard from a single one. Okay. Or you end up as a candidate going through several rounds of interviews only to be ghosted. Like, how terrible is that? It makes you feel very inadequate as a potential employee, right? And then you start second guessing your own skill set, which is no fun. Okay. So these issues here can lead to inconsistent hiring decisions and costly mishires. There's nothing worse than hiring somebody that really shouldn't have been hired to begin with. Okay. That's why we need to start utilizing technology, specifically AI, to help improve the process. Okay. Average corporate jobs receive 250 applications a day. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. It's very time consuming. And recruiters who work for these companies, they tend to spend 23 hours on average just to fill a single position. That is a lot of time. Okay. When you're dealing with that bias that I was speaking of, it leaves you vulnerable to these implicit preferences. And that can cost you in the end, especially if a candidate that you hire or don't hire kind of gets wind of that and starts putting pieces together. You can open yourself up to a lawsuit, and that's not something that you want. Okay. Not only that, you have these poor candidate experiences and choices. So you end up with somebody who, again, should not have been hired to begin with. You have someone who's disgruntled on the entire experience of applying. And I mean, I'm one of them. I can sit here and say that I fit in that bucket of potential job seekers that have had negative application experiences. And that's not something that you want as a company, right? Because that speaks to not just the validity of your company, but the trustworthiness of it. It speaks to the professionalism of your company, right? And whether or not someone would recommend your company to be their employer. Okay. I've talked to you guys in the past about recommendations. So if someone recommends your company to somebody else, right, that good word passes. The same thing is true if someone has something negative to say about your company. If they're saying, hey, that's a horrible place to work for, or oh my gosh, this job hiring experience was terrible. I absolutely hated it. It took, months just to get through to somebody to hear whether or not, just for them to say that they pulled the job and it's no longer available, something that I would have been perfect for, it's very disheartening. So you don't want to have that kind of reputation around your company, okay? Because not that doesn't just cause you time, costs you money in the long term, and it adds to turnover, right? And you want people who are loyal to work for you. You want people who are going to stick around. You want people who are going to sing your praises from the rooftop, right? You don't want somebody who is going to be an upset employee, someone who is only like biding their time before they leave. Okay? That's not something that you want to be surrounded with. So what exactly do we mean when we say that AI does the hiring? Okay. AI can help our hiring teams augment the capabilities, not replace human judgment. I'm going to say that again. Okay. AI helps hiring teams. It doesn't replace human judgment. It can help with analyzing resumes. So parsing qualifications and matching candidates to your job requirements, right? Using natural language processing. It can predict job fit. So it can evaluate potential performance based on data patterns from successful employees. It can automate your scheduling. So obviously when you're trying to coordinate interviews and things like that, without the back and forth email exchanges, it can handle that. It can engage your candidates. So providing those timely updates and answers to common questions they might have through chatbots. And it can flag patterns in data. So identify these trends and insights that might be missed by human reviewers. Okay, we're not talking about robots interviewing people. We're talking about software that uses patterns, data, and algorithms to make certain parts of hiring faster, smarter, and more consistent. Okay, when we're faster, smarter, and more consistent, you get more done in a shorter amount of time, right? And that's the whole purpose of automating things, getting more done in a shorter amount of time. Okay, but you don't want to sacrifice quality. You want to be consistent. All right. Some tools can quickly scan and rank resumes based on keywords or required skills. There's a lot of them nowadays. If you go on Indeed, for example, that you will see it actually has the option of that you have to click a box that says that you're okay that AI scans it, or you're not okay that AI scans it, or at least you recognize that AI is going to scan it. Okay, because that's what they're doing. They're looking for certain keywords. Okay, this takes it back to, like, for those of you who are looking for jobs, okay, for potential employees of your own, right? Those resumes need to have those keywords in there because that's how you know who has the experience that you're looking for. So, for example, if you're looking for somebody who can write code, right, for a website, for example, they might need to be familiar with HTML or CSS, that kind of thing. So in their resume, somewhere in there, it should be speaking of those keywords, right? HTML, CSS. So you could program AI to look for those keywords, okay? And it's going to filter out the people who don't have the experience that you need to fill that role, okay? Others, like other AI tools, can help predict job fit by analyzing past hiring data and matching candidates to roles based on performance trends. So you want to look at what their performance metrics are. A lot of resumes don't tend to have like hard data in them, but those are the ones that you really want to find, right? You want to look for numerical data. So quantitative, not just qualitative data, okay? Because that'll let you know what their performance level is at. So if you're looking for somebody who has like a high ROI, that's going to bring that kind of system to your company, you want to see some sort of metric inside of their resume that demonstrates that they can improve the return on investment based on a set of metrics, right? You don't want to have to wait and see, so to speak. You want to see that it's already been done. But again, who has the time to comb through hundreds of resumes looking for something like that? So if you filter it through the lens of an AI tool that can do that for you, it can parse the data and it can find those particular candidates. So then you can spend the time digging a little deeper into what they've actually done, set up those proper, interviews, again, through the use of AI, and then sit face to face and get into those more important questions. Okay. Any solid system that you employ should have a way to automate schedules, right? Send those follow-up emails, engage your candidates. You want them to basically be like on the hook. So like think about a fisherman. Okay, it's one of the most simple analogies that I can think of. When you have a fisherman, right, they have a bait, obviously, that goes at the end of the hook, and that drops into the water to attract the fish. Okay, your process that you put in place for hiring anybody should be the bait, okay, that someone is drawn to, so that when they're reeled in to the company, okay, they are going to hit the ground running and they are going to be probably one of the best employees you've ever seen. Okay, but it all starts with the initial process. It starts with that initial hiring process. If that initial hiring process is not sweet, it's not enticing, it's not exciting, it's not easygoing, they're not going to want to give you their best. They're not. And to be honest, no amount of money is going to change that, right? They can be great for a couple of months, but that's quickly going to burn out. And then that leads to that turnover, which you don't want, okay? You don't want that. And you want to be able to preemptively spot those red flags before you even hire somebody, okay? For example, okay, if you have a system in place that can analyze specific patterns within your hiring process, like if you tend to lose diverse candidates at a certain stage in your pipeline, you can utilize the tools to help improve equity and inclusion. So that's something that you definitely want to think about, right? And today, I'm a firm believer that in today's world, the more diverse your job, your employees that work for you, the better things are. The better things are, because we all come with very diverse opinions and perspectives, and it just enhances the workplace. So, side note, but so in short, like, AI doesn't replace recruiters. Just know and understand that. It gives them better tools. It allows them to be able to do things at greater volumes in a shorter amount of time. And it just gives you a better outcome on both ends, right? Because you, as the business owner, yes, you run things, you control things, but you also have to understand that you're there for your employees. Okay, you need to be able to serve them as much as they serve you. And that all starts with the hiring process. So AI is used in so many ways today. I want to talk you through some examples of how companies are already using it. And I've said this already. First off, resume screening. So tools like applicant tracking systems now have built-in AI that filters resumes based on those job descriptions, those required skills, and even soft skills, depending on the tool. Okay, it has to be programmed. No one understand that. There is no AI tool out there that's just like plug and play. Okay, it has to be programmed because it doesn't know you, right? AI only does as much as you train it to do. It's got to know what you want. Okay, remember that. The next thing is chatbots. So these are often used on career pages or during the application process to answer candidate questions, help them find the right role, or even pre-screen them with basic questions. How cool would it be? And I am just throwing this out there. I've talked to you guys about this already. Create yourself a custom GPT for your job. Okay, whatever the job is that you are hiring for, program it with all the questions that you could possibly think of that anybody would ask. Okay, and deploy that to your candidates that you are seriously considering for that position. Have them ask it any question they want before the interview. Okay, heck, even allow them to practice interviewing. Like, how cool would that be? That would set you apart from anybody in this marketplace. If you had a custom GPT that was programmed to ask someone mock interview questions ahead of the actual interview, oh my goodness, that would be a game changer. So think about how you can use that. Okay. And then that way, basic questions are taken care of. When the interview time comes, you're making better use of that time. Okay. And you're also kind of filtering out some of the people, right, that may or may not be doing their due diligence. Because if it's me, as someone who is trying to be employed by you, first thing, I'm going to head to your website. I want to know everything and anything about your company. Then I'm going to Google you. I'm going to look for reviews. I'm going to look for people who are complaining about you. I'm going to get on Reddit and I'm going to check that out. I'm going to get on all kinds of forums, see what's what in your company. Okay. If you are a product-based person, I'm going to look at the product reviews because I want to know that I'm jumping on with a company who has solid reviews. I don't want to work for someone who has shady practices. Right. So I want to do all that due diligence. Now, if I am the candidate and I have a chat bot that is there for me to ask questions of, and I'm asking simple things like, what kind of products or services does this company offer? Well, that lets me know as the owner of the business that you, as my potential employee, have not even checked my website because my website would have that information for you. Do I want to hire you if that's the case? I do not. I do not want to hire you because you have not even bothered to look at the assets that are there, right? So think like that, okay? Think about the things that are going to help you kind of filter out people that you know that you don't want and the qualities that you know that you don't want in your employees, okay? We also have things like automated scheduling. Again, removes that back and forth, takes care of the emails, allows them to book directly on a calendar, even allows them to change their appointment. Okay, and that's something else that you got to consider, right? Would you hire somebody that had to change their interview date and time? Is that something that you're lenient about, or is it circumstantial? Okay, that's a you thing. Everybody's different. Me, myself, and I, if I had someone schedule an interview with me and they had to change it, especially if it's last minute, without a valid excuse or reason, they would be filtered out of the process. But that's me. Okay. Some platforms even go as far as using predictive analytics to estimate which candidate would most likely succeed to stay in the role long term. And that's usually based on historical data for their resume. So if you see that somebody is job hopping, going here, there, and everywhere every 6 to 8 months, is that an ideal candidate? Okay. Think through that. Or would you rather have somebody who is there long term, who has been at the same job 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, that kind of thing. Okay. And then, dig into the whys behind, because maybe they had to move. Maybe they left the state to go take care of an ill parent or something like that. So all those things need to be considered. Okay. DEI tools are other things that are out there, right? There's software out there that helps you kind of potentially look for biases in languages and how you write your job descriptions. And it allows, yourself to be more open and available to other types of individuals that might want to apply. Okay. So why is it that so many companies are exploring or adopting AI in the hiring process? Well, number one, the biggest benefit is speed. So AI can process and screen applicants in like a fraction of the time that you can, right? It gives hiring teams a real advantage, especially in this fast-paced industry. It also creates more consistency across the board because the same logic or rules can be applied to each candidate. And this reduces the chance of human bias or error. It improves the candidate experience because things move faster and people get responses sooner, which is very helpful, especially if you're entertaining multiple offers, right? Another big benefit is data. So hiring teams can track what's working, where candidates are dropping off, and how different sources are performing. And last but not least, it's scalable. Once the system is in place, it can handle large volumes without adding stress to your team. And that's exactly what we need, specifically if we are a growing, fledgling business. Okay, here are some stats for you. 75% experience time savings, the reduction in time to fill positions using AI-powered screening. 94% see an improvement in consistency. Application of identical criteria across candidates is helpful, right? You have a 3x better experience. So an increase in candidate satisfaction with responsive AI communication, 40% improvement in data insights, improved quality of hire metrics through that predictive matching, and then 67% experience and improved scalability rate. So more applications processed without additional recruiter headcount. So in the end, saving you time, saving you money, right? Saving time, saving money. That's what AI does for you. No matter how you use it, it should save you time, save you money. And at the end of the day, those are the two things that business owners really need in today's world, especially if you're beginning, right? We don't have a whole lot of time and we don't have a whole lot of money, like free money, just to be able to spend on whatever, right? Unless we have an amazing angel investor somewhere out there. But again, you have to be accountable for those funds. So, we need to be able to figure out the ways that we can save time and money, and AI does that for us. Okay, so you would really be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't use it. Okay, now, pardon me, AI is not a perfect solution. Okay, there are some real concerns that we should be aware of. Okay, the biggest one is the bias in algorithms. If the data used to train an AI tool is biased, for example, if a company's past hires were mostly from one background, then the AI might learn to favor those patterns, even if it's unintentional. Okay, so you have to be very careful with the data that you use to train your tools. You want to make sure that it includes diverse backgrounds if you're trying to hire a diverse set of individuals. You want to make sure that it includes a lot of different demographics, a lot of different metrics and things like that if you are trying to expand upon that within your company. If you stick with one track, it's going to stay on one track, because remember, AI only spits out what you train it on. Okay, it doesn't think for itself. No matter what the movies have shown us in the past, it doesn't think for itself. Okay, it thinks based on what you train it on. Okay, remember that. So if you train it on a set of data, it's going to spit out things based on that. So make sure that you're training it on a diverse set of data. Okay, there's also an issue with transparency. Some tools don't explain how they rank candidates or make decisions, which can seem very unfair and confusing, especially for you as the business owner, because you want to know the why. Why is this happening? Why did I only get these people when I thought that this individual would have been better? Okay, why is this occurring over here when I didn't ask it to do that? So think like that. Or why is it giving me this recommendation of somebody whose resume clearly shows that they're not qualified for this? Okay. Privacy is another concern. especially around how candidate data is stored and used. Employers need to make sure that you guys follow all your local and international privacy laws. Please, 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 please keep up to date with that. If you don't, again, you're going to open yourself up to a whole lot of lawsuits, and that is not something that you want. If your tools are on your website, make sure you have a privacy policy in place. Make sure you have a terms and conditions page in place, right? These are things that you need to have consistently created so that, and plate and embedded, right, into anything that you use so that you're protecting yourself, right? Because you work really hard for your company. You work really hard to build it up into what it is and to work to scale it to where you want it to go. So the last thing that you need is a lawsuit based on something that could have been prevented. So if you can prevent it, think ahead of it and take care of that. Okay. There is also a risk of over automation. Never thought that I would say that, but yes, over automation is a thing, right? AI can support decision making, but it shouldn't replace human parts of hiring, like empathy, instinct, personal connection. Okay. You should be able to look at candidates and go instinctually, right? That person is going to be a good fit. Or AI says this person's great, but I'm looking at certain things and I don't think so, right? Trust your gut. At the end of the day, your gut's not going to steer you wrong, I promise. Okay. And I don't make promises lightly, but when it comes to like AI versus you, like your intuition, your human intuition, trust that intuition over everything, right? If something doesn't feel right, don't go with it. Okay. Question AI. You have no idea the amount of times that I have typed into chat, like, you're forgetting a step, or did you think about this? Or do you remember that earlier you told me this, but that contradicts what you just told me now? Okay. Use your common sense. AI is not perfect. Okay. Again, it's made to enhance and support what already exists. If you don't have the skill set, it is not going to just magically make something occur. Okay. Because you have to think through it. You've got to use your own mind. And the AI is going to help enhance what is already there. So if you don't know the basis of hiring, AI is not going to replace that because you won't even know what to tell it to do. Okay. So you need to get that in place first. Know what you know. Okay. And make that the foundation of anything that you use to program AI to help enhance that. All right. Finally, legal compliance. So things like EEOC regulations and GDPR, they need to be considered anytime you're using AI to make decisions that affect people's careers. Okay, because again, last thing you want is a lawsuit, especially in today's world where things are a little tough out there, right? And people are looking for any reason to make a buck. I'm just saying. So how can we make sure AI is being used responsibly in hiring? We've got to balance innovation with integrity. Okay, you have to have clear hiring criteria. AI should be working off consistent, well-defined standards, not vague preferences. Okay, you can't be unclear. You can't say something like, oh, I'm looking for somebody who might know about building a website, creating a logo, updating social media, and that's it, right? No, you want to say something like, I need someone who is an expert in WordPress, in Wix, and various other website building platforms. I need someone who understands automations, backend support, email marketing campaigns, the structure and the build out. You get where I'm going with this? Okay, so you want to get specific. Okay, get as specific as possible in your preferences and the things that you need for that candidate that you're going to be hiring. Okay, the more specific you are, the better the outcome you will get. The more vague you are, the worse the outcome. Okay. Second, you want to make time to audit your tools. That means checking for those biases, tracking the accuracy, and making sure the outcomes match your goals. Okay, that's going to take you a little time. But If periodically you schedule some time to audit your tools, then you're going to ensure that things are working as they need to. Okay. And you are receiving the best possible outcome, which is a quality candidate that's going to stick around for a while. If you don't take the time to audit your tools and it's making a mess of all the things, okay, then all you're going to receive is a mess of candidates. And that's not something that you want. Okay. You want good quality candidates. And that means making sure that your tools are working as they should. Okay. Third, AI is going to support your decisions, not replace them. Okay. Final interviews, culture fit, hiring decisions, that should still involve humans. Okay. You're the one that is going to speak to these people as they sit in front of you, as you're interviewing them. You should never have an automated system interview somebody. I actually went on a job interview a while ago, and it had me do what was called a virtual interview, which I found very interesting. And it was a program on the computer where it displayed a question, and I had 1 minute to answer the question. So it gave me a time limit, which, number one, I don't like. Okay, because if I have to explain something that is complex or how I dealt with a situation that was a little complicated, I want a little more time than a minute, right? So that put me at a disadvantage as the potential candidate. But it recorded my responses, and it even gave me a countdown as to me getting closer and closer and closer to that 1 minute time limit, which caused a little bit of anxiety, right? And it shows on the camera. So, because you're recorded, right? It's not just your voice. So then it moves on to the next question, and it goes through all 5 questions or whatever. And then at the end, it lets you know, okay, your questions are being submitted to the potential employer. They will follow up as needed. Okay. Did I hear back from that person? No. Was I expecting to? No, because I hated the entire experience. So that right there gave it left such a sour taste in my mouth that I was like, I don't really want to work for this person anyways. So I'm kind of glad that that happened. But things like that, like just question and answer, that should be done by a person, not a computer. Okay? Not an AI system of any kind. Okay? You should be talking to your potential employee. You need to get a sense of who they are. You need to get a feel for that vibe, that connection between you and them, right? There is such a thing as not having a good vibe between you and the potential employee, right? A good fit. If you're not a good fit based on a conversation, then you know not to hire them. Okay? But that's where your human intuition comes into play. Okay? But you only get a sense of that if you speak to the person. If you allow AI to do everything, you're taking that out, and that's going to cause you headaches in the long run. Okay. Next, you want to involve your HR, your legal, and your IT teams when selecting or reviewing your tools. You need to have buy-in from the people who understand the risks and regulations, right? So your HR team is really going to understand, right, what those risks and regulations are. IT is going to help you with having the right protections, like on your website and things like that. And then legal is going to back them both up to help make sure that you are covered from top to bottom in whatever tools you decide to employ. So when you hear of, a brand new tool coming out on the market that's going to help do something, first and foremost, run it by those people, right? Ask them, hey, what do you think? And if you're a small company and you don't have these individuals, get yourself an accountability team. I have several accountability partners that if I have something new or exciting that I want to do or I'm thinking about, I run it to them and I go, hey, what do you think about this? What are some things that I might have to work through in order to make sure that this is viable and this actually functions the way it should, and that I'm not going to get into any trouble down the line? And guess what? They let me know, right? They're open and they're available to that. So it's important to have those people in your corner. When you become a bigger company, you're going to have those big teams, the HR, the legal, the IT, all that stuff, right? But when you're small and you're beginning, like most of us are, solopreneuring it, have people in your life that can be these. And I'm not asking you or telling you to mooch off of them. Don't look at your HR best friend and go, hey, can you check out this pool of candidates for me? For the free ski. No, 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 no. We're not doing that. Okay. You don't take advantage of people, right? Or you don't look at your lawyer cousin and go, hey, can you check over this contract? Come on now. Okay. Everybody deserves to get paid what they're worth based on, who they are in whatever field that they are in. But what I'm saying is, brainstorming, picking their brain for a couple of things so that you can get certain systems set up for yourself. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I would hope that they would come to you if they needed to brainstorm something that involved your area of expertise, right? And you'd be more than willing to do that. So accountability groups are great for that. Just having a crew of people that are business minded, that are willing to support and build you up and help in any way is also quite nice. Okay. And just remember, the goal isn't just efficiency, right? It's fairness and quality. Hiring shapes culture, reputation, and outcomes. So you definitely want to get it right. You don't want to get this wrong. You want to be able to set the standard for hiring. Again, how cool would it be that other companies are looking at you and going, you know what? Your hiring practices are amazing. How are you doing this? Right? I see that your outcomes are exponential, right? That you're growing through the roof and you have the same team that you've had for the past 5, 6, 7 years, right? How are you doing that? How are you maintaining culture? How is it the people that are working for you are incredibly happy and excited to be there every day, even though you have a lot on your plate, right? Be that kind of company, okay? Be that kind of person that hires those type of people that want to stick around with you, that want to be with you, okay? So at the end of the day, responsible AI adoption, it requires ongoing commitment to ethical principles and human oversight. AI will never replace you. It will only enhance you. Don't forget that. Okay? So here are some key takeaways from our presentation today. AI can streamline and support smarter hiring. When you implement it thoughtfully, AI tools enhance recruiter capabilities and improve your candidate experience. Risks should be managed with awareness and intention. So you have to regularly monitor all the tools, test all the tools, make sure all your AI systems, okay, are promoting and not hindering diversity and fairness. And then human-centered hiring is incredibly essential. The most effective approach is blend that technology piece with human judgment and empathy. Okay. It's a powerful tool. Remember that. Okay. It can streamline hiring, reduce manual workload, helps you focus more on the people part of hiring and less on the paperwork part, which can be a pain. You can automate that though. Okay. When it comes down to hiring somebody, once you've made the choice, you can automate the paperwork piece. Okay. So you can take that part off your plate by automation. But the people part, you need to hold tight to that and you need to work through that, okay? With power comes responsibility. You've got to be aware of all the risks that using AI for anything entails, okay? I don't care what you're using it for. Be aware of the risks, especially around bias, privacy, and fairness when it comes to hiring someone, okay? Make sure that this is always human-centered. We are people with feelings. At the end of the day, AI has no feeling. I don't care how humanistic you make it sound, how much you train it to sound like yourself, because I'll tell you right now, my chat sounds just like me. Okay. But it's not me. So you have to make sure that there is that delineation. Okay. Humans are humans. We have feelings. And the way that you treat somebody, especially in a hiring situation, it can come back to bite you in the butt if it's not done right. Okay. But it can also edify you if it's done correctly, because there are people in my life that I have been hired for that I absolutely loved. I enjoyed working for them for however long I did. The hiring process was amazing. you know, so I can sing their praises from the rooftops all day long. And then there's others where I could say, you know what, yeah, that sucked. That was horrible. Like, I did not enjoy that at all. You know, so be the one that people are going to sing praises from the rooftop about, okay? And with that, I know we're ending a little early, but I know Cynthia's kind of off in the background and I haven't heard her interacting with me at all today. But I want to thank you for being here, and I would love to open the floor for your questions or your comments.
All right, you guys. Now, Maribel, I hope you can hear me now.
Yes,
I
I
tried to stay
can.
in the background for the rest of it because I would have been distracting you the entire time. I finally did get the camera to work. I was like, but let me let her drive today. So you guys, if you have any questions, I have been in the comments though, and y'all have been super active in the comments today. So thank you. Right now, our number one participator is Team Us 2K. Is either Team Us 2K or Team US 2K. So I want to make sure I'm saying it right, but it looks like Team Us 2K. But you got the number one spot on the platforms today. So we appreciate your participation. And I think their last, there's a question. All right, Maribel, can you see on screen about what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on people who use AI to totally write their resume?
No, that is such a bad practice. That is such a bad practice because then I tell you something, when you run those resumes through all the AI filters, it picks up on it like that and it knows that it's false, right? So number one, you are going to get filtered way out of any possibility of getting an interview or a first phone call of any kind. And then how on earth are you supposed to pretend that you know everything that's on your resume inside of an interview when you have AI write it? You know, are you going to sit there and memorize the entire thing and pretend like you did all these things? No. So all you're doing is making a liar out of yourself. And that's not something that we need to be doing.
Yeah. Thank you, Maribel, for addressing that question. And thank you for the question, too. We appreciate you guys. Any others? I will reiterate one of the things that she said. First of all, let me just say this. I want a lawyer cousin. If you have a lawyer cousin, you're a very lucky person. Let me just say that because that stuck out in my mind when she said it. I'm like, I got cousins in other professions. I need a lawyer cousin. Okay. We need attorneys in the fam. So if we've got anybody watching in my family, I need y'all to go to law school. That's number one. But then the second thing is she touched on organizations actually allowing AI to do interviews. I don't know if you guys have seen these in TikTok. They were on my FYP for a while. But it is like where these large corporations were getting AI to do the interviews, and these people were actually recording the interviews, and AI started repeating itself like, how are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? Are you interviewing? Are you interviewing? And it was so crazy because these major corporations, they make so much money, but nobody took the time to investigate how the AI was reacting with people that it was interviewing. So it is crazy. If you guys get a chance, if you're on TikTok, go to TikTok and just Google like AI conducting interviews, and you will see why she is telling you, do not allow AI to conduct a full interview for you. I'm going to ask you this, Maribel. What do you think about having AI to help you formulate questions for an interview? I know you touched on this a little bit already, but what do you think about that?
Okay, so let me put you guys a little bit on game here. Okay, right. If you are someone who is interviewing for position, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to take that entire job description, top to bottom, okay, plug it into AI, like chat, right? Upload your resume and ask it to generate 10 questions that could possibly be asked of you based on that job description. Okay. And it'll give you the question and it'll give you the answer. And then that's something that you can study, right, prior to the interview so that you're better prepared for possible questions or similar questions that might come up.
I love that. So allowing AI to help you do the homework, right?
Yes.
That's a huge thing. And I think that it's a huge advantage that people can have instead of just walking into an interview just raw, you know, and getting feedback from people, like you said, because when you said that you were connected to people where you send them things, you run it through mentors, you run it through friends that you can rely on and things like that. Like that's so important, especially between a network of entrepreneurs. And that's why I like Six Secrets so much. There's another group that I have on Facebook called BYOB. If you haven't connected with any other entrepreneurs that can help you grow your business, you are missing out. You don't necessarily have to be a part of one of my groups to do it, but you're looking at an amazing one here. Like Maribel's a busy woman. And it depends on who you need to connect with. But I promise, like, start connecting with people. Start scheduling these strategy sessions. They're completely free. The first ones are just to say, hey, let me hear your thoughts. What's going on in your head? How can we make this happen for you? And let's get you set on the right track. So if you are not connected with anyone, please connect with someone. Please connect with someone like yesterday.
Oh, yeah. It's critical. It's critical.
All right. What's the golden takeaway for today, Maribel?
All right. Golden takeaway. AI and hiring. Never forget the human touch.
Never forget the human touch.
Never forget it. AI can never replace you.
I love that.
It can only enhance who you are. Okay.
I love it. Y'all heard it here first. All right. Now that you've got your golden takeaway, folks who are in the Six Secrets group, our business beauties, ladies, I want you to make sure you're checking into the group because there are resources that Maribel that has created for you that are free. There is one that is actually an investment that I took advantage of. So definitely grab that one because it shows you how to incorporate things specifically into your business, has links that you can get to and other resources. But there is a chat bot that she specifically designed for the ladies in this group to use. So take advantage of that. There's another free resource that she dropped, I think the last one. All of these are pinned in our announcement section. So you have direct access to it. If you want to get more involved and more personable in communications, join the chat group that's for these AI trainings. Is in the Six Secrets group. So if you're in Six Secrets, make sure you look at the chats and you join the AI and marketing chat group because a lot more things are shared in there. It gets a lot more personal and involved because we don't want to take up the feed with so much stuff. So if you really want hands-on and you've been with us all day thus far, you definitely need to be in those groups and in those chats and follow up with the resources that Maribel has for you. I have also dropped the link to her website and her booking link in today's comments. So if you want to look back and schedule a free strategy session with her, they're there also. All right, you guys, this is going to be available on YouTube on her channel. That link's there too. Make sure you subscribe to her page so you get the notification. You'll get the ping once she's got it posted. And if you guys need anything, just give us a holler. And thank you so much, everybody there in the comments saying thank you for this. And we appreciate you. We appreciate y'all for watching. Right, my God. All right. Ended our live stream for today. We'll see y'all with another AI training next month.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye now.